Lynching is a horrible crime. Please, join our cause.
Miss Ida,
help us, please.
Miss Ida, I must admit, when you were working for my newspaper, the New York Age, our circulation had tripled. Your profound writing about lynching, discrimination, and segregation had clearly captured public attention. I hope for the same success for your newspaper, The Conservative.
Oh, thank you. But it was only because of you, Mr. T. Thomas Fortune, who gave me the opportunity to expose the wrongdoings involved with the evil of lynching.
Oh dear, Miss Wells, look at this article in today's newspaper. October 16, 1910. Ku Klux Klan lynches another Negro. When do you think this murder will end?
I thought after Mr. Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, blacks and whites would find a way to get along. However, after the Civil War, it seems as though lynchings, murders, beatings, hangings have only hit record numbers among blacks. The 1875 Civil Rights Act, established 35 years ago, was intended to give us a sense of equality, but it was repealed, and as a result, the racial barrier has only thickened. The Ku Klux Klan only wishes to stunt blacks' economic success. And not only this, the government is afraid to give us economic independence for the same reason. Wait, young man, you dropped something. What is this?
None of your business, Negro.
Is there a lynching occurring right now?
Yes, and I don't want to miss the spectacle.
How disgraceful, such a young innocent mind already involved with evil lynching.
What do you mean?
Well, don't you know? There were 135 human lives, 135 innocent lives that were lynched by mobs in 1902. Why do blacks have to endure this brutal murder and beating? How can whites find entertainment in the treatment we receive? Well, it seems as though the mob that vandalized my office somehow found this entertainment. However, I have kept determined with my anti-lynching campaign and am continuing on. When I was your age, about 16 years old, my parents died of yellow fever, and I had to care for my siblings by getting a teaching job at Memphis. However, I was fired for criticizing the racist Memphis school board. I had to keep my siblings safe because my family and I had been threatened to be lynched. But how can I keep them safe in a country full of discrimination?
Wait, I know you. You're Ida B. Wells. My parents always talk about how much trouble you caused. They say you've disrupted our peace.
Your peace? What about our peace? I've been fighting for blacks' rights since I was about your age. When I was 22 years old, I was kicked off a train because I refused to sit in the Jim Crow car. I made sure to record this event in my diary here. I refused, saying that the forward car, closest to the locomotive, was a smoker section, and as I was in the ladies' car, I proposed to stay. The conductor tried to drag me out of my seat, but the moment he caught hold of my arm, I fastened my teeth to the back of his hand. He shot forward and got the baggage man and another man to help him, and of course they succeeded in dragging me out.
And boy, don't you know, Miss Wells took her case to the local court and won $500. But the stubborn state court disagreed and threw out her case.
She wouldn't have won her case anyway because of the 1896 Supreme Court's ruling in Plessy versus Ferguson. Separate but equal. Remember, you were still in the equal car.
I am a woman. Why didn't I get the right to ride in the white women's car? The 13th, 14th, and 15th post-Civil War amendments stated that all races would be given equal rights. For example, black men would be given opportunities in politics and have voting rights. However, women have not been given these same rights. If Mr. T. Thomas Fortune and other black men can vote, why can't I?
You're a woman and a Negro. No one will listen to you. How could you possibly gain any support? No matter how influential you are among the Negro community, you cannot go against the government.
I am not trying to defy the government. I am trying to work with the government to make America the land where freedom truly reigns. That is why I met with Mr. President McKinley in 1896 to express my views in a non-radical way. When he heard about the lynching problem in our country, he was shocked. He even gave a moving speech on anti-lynching. However, no one listened to this speech. With the president supporting my campaign, why must this murder continue?
I cannot hear such things. My parents would be enraged if they found that I was talking with you. They always told me that Negroes are inferior and savages.
I am only trying to change the viewpoint of the white people to make America a land with equal rights for both blacks and women.
The United States government has already given you equality. How much more could you ask for? What is that song?
This song was sung during the time of slavery in order to provide a message of hope and to give direction in order to escape to freedom. We continue to sing this song, even though the Civil War ended 45 years prior, because racial discrimination and injustice still survive throughout this nation.
My parents have never really told me why I should keep my distance from Negroes. I just always had this mindset that Negroes are nothing but trouble.
We all live in America and deserve peace and equality. I wish you would understand.
Maybe I understand some of what you're saying, but I, as one, cannot do much.
If I can make a difference, you can surely make a difference.
The most remarkable thing about Miss Wells is not that she's fighting lynching and other forms of barbarism. It's rather that she's fighting a lonely and almost single-handed fight.
And I would rather go down in history as the one sole black who spoke out against the government than take back what I said in order to save myself. You can start making a difference by not going to this lynching. Boy, this is murder. Let's make this year of 1910 a year of change. A year ago, 39 other members and I founded the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. With this organization by my side, why must this murder continue?
I will think about what you're saying, but I do promise to never attend another lynching.
To help you remember the lesson you have learned, and the message I want you to spread to all whose eyes have been clouded, I want to give you my lynch law pamphlet. That pamphlet illustrates the hundreds of lives lost in lynching.
Miss Ida B. Wells, I must admit, the passion and dedication that you have will clearly change minds, especially for young people, like that boy.
Thomas, we still have a long way to go. This is only the beginning of the long journey towards equal rights. No matter what, I will devote my life to this cause. I will use my words and actions to stop this carnage.
Miss Wells, I think that your actions, passion, and determination, you will leave a lasting legacy.
We are here today in honor of Ida Bell Wells and the NAACP that she helped to start. This year marks the 100th anniversary of the founding of the NAACP, which was founded on February 12, 1909. Ida B. Wells was one of our nation's most uncompromising leaders, and she had a passionate drive for determination and justice. Without the NAACP to ensure the equality of all persons and to eliminate racial hatred and racial discrimination, our country would not be as united as it is today. But Ida B. Wells was known for something greater than the founding of the NAACP. She was known for a crusade against lynching. Without Ida B. Wells, lynching and racial discrimination would still be a major issue in today's society. Her powerful journalistic skills, displayed in newspaper columns, inspirational speeches, journals, and books, truly made her the mother of the civil rights movement.
In fact, even before the Civil War era, women first began to voice their opinions about voting rights through the medal that reads, "Am I not a woman and a sister?" This medal represents the connections between the anti-slavery and women's rights movements. As an African-American woman, Miss Wells set herself apart from all other women of that era by attacking the issue of lynching on her own for most of her career. W.E.B. Du Bois, a man who was greatly influenced by Ida B. Wells, said that her work had been easily forgotten and taken to greater success by others. For example, Miss Wells was a predecessor to Rosa Parks. She faced the same racial injustice of giving up her train seat nearly 71 years before Rosa Parks refused to give up her bus seat. Miss Wells led many African-American movements, just like Martin Luther King Jr., and she was a full supporter of women's rights movements, just like Susan B. Anthony. However, Miss Wells did not receive the same credit that others did.
Ida B. Wells was challenged by both men and women of different races who felt that her campaign was erroneous because many thought that black men and women should be suppressed. White women did not favor her attempts to expose the wrongs of lynching because of her skin color. Ida B. Wells was the first African American to document the horrors of lynching to the world. Her actions, although great, resulted in a legacy that was and continues to be lost in the shadows of time.
And with the recent election of Barack Obama as the 44th President of the United States, yet another important racial barrier has finally been broken. The efforts of W.E.B. Du Bois, Martin Luther King Jr., Ida B. Wells, and other civil rights leaders have led up to this important moment in our history.
The wall of separation between the white man and the black man has been breached. Racism was definitely a major issue in the past, and Ida B. Wells knew, in order for change to occur, we must speak out and transform the nation, one voice at a time.
And spoke out she did. Ida B. Wells moved forward with the truth against lynchings and racial inequality and broke the long-lasting silence.
And as Ida B. Wells said, truth is mighty and shall prevail.